board and I'm going to drink a beer. It's Thursday night. I feel like this is a great way to have a sip of a beer and listen to some amazing conversations happening. So
I wish I could. I wish I could join you. I have water because I'm technically on prep, but
well, cheers.
Yeah. Cheers to an
Cheers.
amazing episode.
Woo! All right.
I'm excited.
Oh, Alexia Monardo. Let's do it. All right.
Okay.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Let's Chat with J-Bax. I'm here with my beautiful guest, Alexia Monardo. How's it going, girl?
Hi, it's going great. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to have you. And I hope anyone on our podcast who's listening goes to YouTube and comes and sees how beautiful you look. The background's going well. Your hair's on point. We're wearing matching tanks, kind of. Do we do a Kitty Gain plug? Kitty Gain.
Yes.
Plug it in. Well, I have had the pleasure of watching Alexia through the pandemic, and I started following her when the pandemic really started, and it was a breath of fresh air. And there was just so much positivity and beauty and creativity on your page. And when I followed you and I watched your feed, I found that you weren't just this fit chick. When that's kind of how I stumbled upon you. I was like, oh, she's super fit. She's really like focused on her body, her mentality. But then I started to see more that you dance and you're a performer and you truly shine through your movements and you look just so free.
Thank you so much. You're the sweetest. I definitely have always felt from the beginning this calm, natural connection between the two of us, as I feel like very in alignment with you and your purpose and what you do and the vibe on your page. And for you, like, I always find that your page helps me move deeper into my practice, and it's the reminders that I constantly need myself. So anytime I see you, it kind of feels like we're mirroring each other. Like, you always feel like a mirror for me, and a safe space on my feed. So thank you so much for adding calm and beauty into my life in that way.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel the same way with you. And that's why it's so important for me to have had you on this episode, because you are so inspiring. And I know I'm inspired, and I know that anyone who's going to listen to this episode is going to be inspired by you because of everything you can encompass and that you share out in the world.
Thank you. I truly appreciate that. And I hope the same. I hope.
Definitely. Well, I would love to talk. I mean, there's so many things I want to talk about with you. You can, I just like don't even know where to start, but I know that I really want to get into, you. What makes you you? Can you give us a background of yourself and, how you are where you are today?
I'm going to give you the Coles Notes version of Alexia.
Yes.
All right. So I started dancing when I was 5 years old, and I basically trained my whole life. I've been dancing my whole life. Went all the way throughout high school. I started dancing competitively when I was like 7 years old. And then went through high school, and I was just still so in love with the craft that I didn't want to part ways with it. I felt like I still had more to discover within myself. So then I went to Ryerson University, and I got my Bachelor of Fine Arts in dance there, which was a wonderful and beautiful challenge. They also left us very well-rounded as performers, because we also had to take like acting classes and singing classes. A little fun fact, I went to school with Mina Masood, who is the main actor of Aladdin. So he graduated. Shout out to Mina. He's awesome.
Woo!
Yeah, he graduated in our year with us. So, and there's also so many other incredible people that came
Yeah.
from that program, but I'm just very proud to come from the same training with so many wonderful artists. It's so inspiring.
Yeah. And you
And
came from the program. So
thank you. Thank you. And when I graduated, I started going to auditions, and I was scared. I guess, as it's not a traditional career path. So I knew it would be a lot of hard work and a lot of rejection, but I just started auditioning, and I was really blessed. I started booking some tours internationally. So I had the opportunity to dance in China and Singapore and Qatar, the Bahamas. So it was a fun way to start my performance career, to say the least.
yeah.
And then once you set the bar that high for yourself, when you feel that level of joy in a scenario where you're supposed to be working,
Mhm.
you're like, feel like I'm scamming the system here. Like, this doesn't make sense. Like, this is work. Like, obviously rehearsals are long and tiring and stuff, but when you're on that stage, oh, it's like ecstasy like no other. Like, this natural excitement and joy that lives within you. You just, at that moment, I felt truly connected to my purpose.
Yeah. And when
Mhm.
you say your purpose, can you define that for us?
Absolutely. So, in that moment as a performer, I know that. So, for example, we were performing for young kids in a
Mhm.
lot of the countries that I went to. And seeing the smiles on their faces and taking pictures with them after shows, just knowing how much joy it brought them and how much joy entertainment brings to audiences, it's a beautiful thing to be able to connect and to express myself through my movement, but also know that I'm connecting with people I've never met before on an emotional level.
Mhm.
And I know that sometimes life can get really scary and dark, and art gives us that ability to escape from that for a
Yeah.
little bit, and just jump into an alternate universe, essentially, which is filled with wonder and excitement and love and passion. And I feel fortunate that I've been able to bring that to audiences all over the world.
Yeah. And you mentioned, life can get dark, it can get, sad.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt those emotions? And did you feel that dance
Oh.
kind of like, or performing kind of pulled you out?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I always noticed as a young child, and I didn't even know, I would just always say to my mom when I was little, if I was on summer break or Christmas break and I was away from dancing every day, I would say to her, Mommy, I don't understand. Like, I just feel so sad. Or I would start getting really moody, like really cranky. And she would just be like, oh, it's because you need to dance. And it's that's exactly what it is. And then I said to her as I got older, like, I don't know how to express my emotions any other way. I don't know how to release my emotions without dance. And after I was performing professionally for a few years, I started, or actually, I went through a breakup,
Mhm.
as many of us do, and I basically got into a bit of a heartbreak depression. And during the time that it was happening, I didn't really realize how depressed I was, but I knew that I needed to take care of myself and nurture my body to find a way to heal. And I started working out because I didn't have access to dance classes every single day, like when I was in school. And
Mhm.
taking class is expensive. And as an artist, we're trying to save money and we're trying to eat. So it's hard. Like, we want we want jobs so that we can make money, but
Yeah.
in order to keep training, you have to take class. It just adds up. Anyways, I started going to the gym with my friend as just, it was like, she was like, oh, you should come with me. I ended up falling in love with fitness, and it was another way of releasing emotions, which I found out it's the movement. It's any form of movement that really helps me cope, even if it's as simple as going for a walk. It even helps me if I'm trying to think of concepts for choreography or for a TikTok, let's say, or something I have to write or anything I have to do creatively. If I'm on a walk, it's easier for me to think of something versus me staying stagnant in my room. If I sit down and I'm like, okay, we need to think of something good, the creativity doesn't work that way. Like you could sit there thinking and nothing's going to come to you. But for me, it's like, if I get my body moving, if I'm at the gym, if I'm doing something else, then that's when the amazing idea comes to me.
Yeah. So it's almost like, I almost was going to ask the question of, is it meditative to do those things? And it may be meditative, but it sounds like for you, it's in a meditative form. It's the things start clicking, your brain starts moving, and that's like an active meditation in two different forms.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I do find that the practice of meditation in itself has helped me focus more, and I'm less distracted because I'm able to come back to what I'm doing versus just get lost in a train of what I need to do for tomorrow or what I need to make for dinner. Like it allows me to stay focused and truly quiet my mind to tap into areas that I need to creatively.
Yeah, definitely. And when you do meditations, do you do them in more of a seated lying down stance, or do you try and do any movement?
It depends how I'm feeling. Typically, I like to stay seated. If I'm practicing in that way, I will do walking meditations as well. So that's different. Just depends what mood I'm in. But typically seated works best for me. And I love having meditation music on.
Yes.
That helps my mind move. I guess maybe, I don't know, as a dancer, like music is a window to my soul. So
yeah,
it helps me.
And some people I know it's either one or the other. It's either you have music to guide you or the music's almost distracting to them. Yes. And I'm definitely with the music, where it's like, I'll even wake up in the morning and while I'm getting ready for my day, I'll put on like some like high frequency waves just to kind of like set myself up for success. So I'm like kind of moving through it, and like my body's moving, whether I'm doing a yoga on my own or I'm reading something. Yeah. The music's still in the background. And I think that kind of not drowns out the thoughts, but allows me to stay with the music. If thoughts come in, come back to the music.
Oh yeah. It's almost like music, resembles breath or something.
Yes. Definitely.
It feels like the two go hand in hand. And that's a thing in meditation. You're constantly bringing yourself back to your breath as an anchor. Yes. So yeah, I totally agree with you. The music almost feels like an anchor for me.
Yeah, definitely. Well, when you got into moving your body in the gym, how did that pair together with dancing?
Well, I mean, it works well together because you need to stay so physically fit for the job. Yeah. And I knew that I needed to keep training. The last thing I want to be is tired during a gig. If I have to show up to someone's wedding and I'm performing at someone's wedding, the last thing I want to be thinking of is like overexertion or me like being scared that my heart rate is gonna, I'm not gonna be able to keep up or I'm gonna get too tired. Yeah. That should be the last thing. I just want to show up, feel strong, confident, do my job, be a part of that couple's day and leave. Like, I just think it's part of being a professional is nurturing your instrument. And as a dancer, your body is your instrument. So if you're not maintaining it and maintaining it well, you're not going
Yeah.
to get work.
Yeah.
That's just in my opinion. Like, and I know too, I'm 29 now. So the goal is longevity,
Mm-hmm.
keeping my body limber and healthy for as long as I possibly can, whatever years I can squeeze out of my dance career, I want to. So yeah.
You are an incredible 29-year-old. Are you kidding me? Holy shit. Like, I mean, honestly, that's amazing because I'm about to be 27 and I'm looking at myself and I'm like, how long can I keep this up?
I hear you.
Look at you. You're an inspiration.
Girl, you know what? Do you want to know what my driving factor is? People always ask me what motivates me.
Yes.
God willing, of course, but 95-year-old Alexia. I'm doing this for her. Because you know what? The work starts now. I want 95-year-old Alexia to be limber, self-sufficient, moving around, kicking ass. And I want to have my wits about me. I want to remember things, and I'm trying to prevent disease now. Like, people are like, oh, wow, like you work out a lot, but it's like, if not now, then when? When it's too late? Because if you don't invest now, you pay for it later with illness and disease. So hopefully, I mean, God willing, you never know what could happen to each of us. Each day is a blessing, but I'm hoping that I'm taking the proper preventative measures to extend my lifespan.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's like really important because a lot of people just are like, they do it to look good. That's like, but essentially like it's for the future of you.
Exactly. And I think your why has to be so much deeper than losing or gaining weight, because that's not what's going to get you to the gym every day. My why, another one of my whys, is also my mental health. I know that if I don't move my body, my mental health starts declining rapidly and fast. So I know for me, that's an important non-negotiable in my life. And that's one of my favorite parts of my day. There was a chapter in my life where I was like, oh, this is strenuous. And of course, there's days I don't feel like going and I'm just exhausted, but I love going to the gym.
Yeah. It's a safe space. Honestly, when you make it a safe space. And I say that, and I literally just pushed myself back a little bit because I say it's a safe space because I think for you and I, it's a safe space.
Yes.
But I know there are some people, especially starting off, they don't experience it as a safe space.
Yeah, I hear you. I remember that time.
Yeah. And can you talk about that time?
Yeah, I think it was super important. I was intimidated by the machines. I was intimidated about people looking at me, people judging me, caring what I'm wearing, etc. And I think it was nice for me to have support. My best friend was training for a bikini competition at the time. So she just brought me in and she showed me how the machines work. It was someone that I trusted, someone that I had fun with. And then I slowly started to gain my confidence. And the thing is, with anything, the more you do it, the more confident you get. And, you start to develop your own little comforts. Like, there would be a favorite corner of the gym I would always go to. I would wear my hat so that I, would feel focused and not distracted by other people, or big headphones, because at the time I didn't want people coming over to talk to me. And I mean, it's not that I'm a mean person and I don't want people talking to me. It's just sometimes in a gym setting, as a female, males do come over to you to try and talk to you. And I'm super flattered. I'm not bashing on guys. I've come across many respectful men, especially at my gym now. But at that time I was very insecure and I was like, I just want to stay in my own world.
Definitely.
So I just navigated. And then YouTube, I learned so much from YouTube and the internet. And I followed my favorites like Nikki Blackadder, Heidi Summers, Whitney Simmons. And now at this time, there's so many more Like when I first started, those were just like the OGs and there was a few of them. But now there's so much access to information everywhere.
Yeah. And there's so much access. And I always say that, you know, the fitness industry, especially on Instagram, TikTok, is saturated.
Oh, it
But
is.
like live reflection right now, it shows that anyone can do it.
Yes.
Literally, it's like people going into the gym and like following girls who like just started their Instagram accounts and then seeing them 2 years from when they started. The confidence they have literally makes me want to scream happiness. I'm like, holy shit. I remember when you were so nervous to post that picture or to, you know, videotape yourself in the gym, and look at you.
For sure.
Sharing yourself and being so confident because you worked at it 5 times a week, 4 times a week, whatever it may be. And you started showing up on a platform that has a lot of hates.
I know.
And I'd love to get into that because I know a TikTok of yours recently blew up and there was a lot that went down on that. Let's talk about it.
There was. I just wanted to make a tribute video. So I just had a concept, and it's a concept that I've seen done before, and I wanted to just do it in my own way as like a short girl.
Yeah.
In the gym, a lot of the machines there, you have to maneuver them in a way that you can actually use them. So there's a lot of different machines that you have difficulties with as a shorty. So anyways, I just made this TikTok of like a guy helping me up to the pull-up bar. Now, normally I would just stand on a box or do something to help myself just do it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do a cute concept. And when you're making something like a TikTok, you need to over dramatize it, I guess. And as a dancer, well, and because you want people to get the message, right?
It's creative. You are using your creativity brain.
But I didn't think I was going to get so much, what's it called? I guess hate, or like people were very, very passionate about the fact that I should have just got a box, or like, you didn't even try to jump. And I was just like, oh my goodness. Like the thing with social media is it's incredible when something goes viral. It's a cool feeling and it's great for exposure. However, the downside to it is that you're getting everyone's opinion. And people just think they know you and make judgments from a 10-second video, which is wild because you never know what someone's going through. Or there was even a person that was like, all that for 3 pull-ups. First of all, the video cut off before it cut off as I was doing my 3rd pull-up. But I just found it very interesting that people are so bold in their assumptions and their judgments and whatnot. And when I'm like, you don't know if someone's just recovering from an injury. You don't know if someone struggled to get out of bed that day. And it was just so shocking to see that some of those comments, like even like, oh, all that for 3 pull-ups, came from another fitness person. I was like, wow, you should know better.
Yeah.
As a fellow fitness person, there's no competition. First of all, it's about us getting stronger than we were yesterday.
Yes.
And there's room for everyone at the top. That's a big one. But you just should not judge people because you don't know what they're going through. And I just can't believe that people don't understand the magnitude of how powerful their words are.
Yeah.
And I think if people truly understood just how powerful they are and how much of an impact they have on the world, then they wouldn't use those words. Or maybe they would, but I wouldn't. I know how powerful words are. And I would never, ever want to be the reason that someone doesn't want to get out of bed or go back to the gym or feel insecure about themselves ever.
And I think that's the biggest thing is be kind.
Oh yeah.
To every single person, to yourself, especially. If you weren't kind to yourself, I'm sure that these comments would have been so much more damaging than what they may have been.
Yeah. There's like even new terms that like the younger kids are talking about. They called me a pick me girl I didn't even know what that meant.
What did
Do you know
Urban
what a
Dictionary say? No.
Well, it's basically like a girl, I think, that like just seeks the attention of males, kind of like a simp, but in like female form. And I was
Mm.
like, okay, interesting. But it's kind of like,
Yeah.
I felt like I was in high school all over again, just like being judged so hardcore. But at the end of the day, it makes your videos do better.
Keep commenting. Come on.
Keep commenting. The thing is, I don't like knowing that there's so much negativity going
Yeah.
down. So I would just distance myself from the app and not open it and look at it while it was happening, because then it was affecting my mood. So I knew I needed to set like that boundary
Yeah.
for myself and my mental health.
Yeah. Definitely. And do you think, for your mental health, like distancing yourself from social media, if there are any hatred going on, especially when it's targeted at you, what else
Yeah.
do you do to kind of keep your mental health in a state of enlightenment or a higher frequency?
Yeah. Well, meditation being the main one, of course. I have my practice in the morning. That
Mhm.
one's a sure thing all the time. I swear by it.
Is it like
And
5-10 minutes, or what exactly is the
I like to do
practice?
15 to 20.
Okay.
And it it varies based on how I'm feeling when I wake
Mhm.
up, but I typically go through various amounts of breath work and like a body scan,
Mhm.
and basically either holding on to a mantra or it's just basically what I need on the
Yeah.
day of.
Yeah. And that's important to recognize. I feel like a lot of people just kind of like loosey goosey choose, which is okay, especially when you're getting into the practice. But I am so big on, especially when it comes to affirmations, I'm obsessed with
You're
affirmations.
the queen of affirmations.
Queen of affirmations. Thank you for saying that. I love that. But it's like if you're feeling a certain way that day, that morning, if you say like
Mm-hmm.
I am, like if I'm saying I'm not, if I don't feel like I'm enough that day, me
Mm-hmm.
saying to myself, I am enough. And like holding my heart in my stomach and like really kind of like letting all of the energy flow through me and like telling my heart, telling my gut, like you are enough. So telling myself
Yeah.
that day for what I need, which sounds like that's what you do with meditation or your
Yeah.
mantras.
I try my best. And then the other thing is applying mindfulness to
Mm-hmm.
your life daily, really staying grounded in the present moment and honoring what you're feeling in
Yeah.
that moment, and
Yeah.
really trying to hear what you're going through and experience. I've really tried to practice leaning in to what I'm feeling, especially if they're uncomfortable emotions.
Yeah.
We have a tendency to want to run because it feels icky. And I think a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
time when people start their healing journey or their meditation journey, they're expecting that every time they're going to sit down to practice, it's going to feel like daisies. And
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it feels beautiful and blissful and
Mm-hmm.
wonderful and connected. Other times it feels strenuous. Other times it feels like you're opening your soul and you feel absolutely naked and raw
Yes.
and
Yes.
messy. But that there is so much beauty in that, because in that discovery you see what parts of yourself still need healing, and what the
Mm-hmm.
not so favorable parts of yourself that you're like, oh, like I didn't realize just how broken that was,
Yeah.
but at least I have an awareness now
Yeah.
to fix it. Like healing starts, I think, with a deep awareness and
Yeah.
self-awareness.
I literally got chills when you said that. Like
Oh,
bringing awareness to what you need to heal. And I think so many people kind of think of healing as, okay, it's going to be fine. Like I'll just, okay, oh, poof, we're done. But like
yeah.
healing it takes time. It takes
Oh,
pain.
yeah.
And then there
Mm-hmm.
is a light at the end of the tunnel, but you have to work to crawl sometimes to get to that
Yes.
tunnel. And when you
Yes.
recognize awareness, when you become aware of something that you need to actually heal or something that you need to work on, what are the steps that you take to start healing that specific part of yourself?
Um, I think
Yeah.
patience is a wild skill that I need to practice daily. And understanding that I'm gonna fail, and
Mm-hmm.
be compassionate towards that. I think just offering myself more compassion towards my failures and realizing that it's part of the human experience towards growth.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of us hate the feeling of failing at something that we're trying to do, even if we're trying to heal, but that's part of learning, because each time you fail, you get stronger.
Yeah.
You get wiser. But also it was readjusting my frame of thought towards what happiness is, and that happiness is not a destination. It's not like this, oh, one day I will be there and I will get there and then it's going to stay like that. Happiness is very much an up and down journey. So I guess it's like this, hopefully. And knowing that there's going to be dark days, there's going to be dark chapters, is part of it. And knowing that you can do little things for yourself every day that will make facing those dark chapters easier. There's a beautiful quote, something along the lines of, we must not with me. I'm losing my train of thought right now. Something along the lines of, we must not wait for the sea or hope for the sea to rest. We must learn to sail in high winds. And I just love that. It's like, I always find in life, once you go through this massive hurdle and you hear from it, you're like, whoo, we did it. We made it. And then life goes, okay, time to level up. Here's a new level of problems. But you're not going at it as a beginner. You're going at it from experience. Yeah.
I love that. I love the way you phrase that, because when you say level up, it just reminded me of a time where it was earlier this year where I was on my Instagram story saying like, I'm going to level up, people. Look at me. It's June. I'm going to take life by the balls and I'm going to fucking go.
I love your energy.
Thank you. And when I said that, it was the beginning of June. And by June 4th, shit hit the fan. Hit the fan. And I literally broke down. I was constant. It was 6 a.m. I experienced my first anxiety attack, almost panic attack. And that was really scary for me. Yeah. And anytime I would talk to someone, whether it was my mom or one of my best friends, I couldn't even form words, because I was in this dark place. I was going through a breakup. I was moving into a new place. It was wild. And I think what really got me was I told myself and I told all my followers, I'm leveling up. So I almost had this, like, everyone was seeing that I wasn't leveling up anymore. So I had eyes on me, and I almost got in my head where it's like, shit, everyone's expecting me to level up. So I need to do that for myself, but I need to do it for them instead. And I didn't give myself the patience or the gentleness. And I take every single ounce of a moment and experience as a growing moment. And looking back at it now, I really had to separate myself from who gives a fuck what anyone sees of me and thinks about me. Like, they're not being like, oh, is Jess leveling up today? No.
I totally hear you, and I empathize with everything you went through, and I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you. And in a sense, you were, even if it didn't feel like you were leveling up, you were.
Yeah.
You still were. Because the universe doesn't make you level up in the way you think it's going to. It makes you level up in the way that the universe needs you to develop for the betterment of this planet.
Yes.
And to evolve into your highest self. So you're amazing. And don't you forget it. Even in your weakest season, you're still a force to be reckoned with. And there's still so much strength and beauty in the struggle.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like beauty comes in so many different forms. Even if you're watching an insanely sad piece of a dance piece on
Mhm.
stage, and it's gut wrenching, and it feels like, oh my gosh, the dancer looks like she's tortured on stage. There's so much beauty in that, and it doesn't feel like that when you're
Yeah.
going through it. It feels like you're dying, but
Yeah.
the evolution of you after that is, there's just so much strength about to blossom,
Yeah.
which is so wild.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like looking back on that time, like, I mean, it took me about a month and a half to truly get out of it. And again,
Yeah.
that's gentleness, that's patience. A month and a half, like, holy shit, like of
That's a
me.
pretty quick kickback time, I think.
Exactly. Well, yeah, but then and like for me, I kind of see it because I'm like, oh, I went through this huge transformation after like the
Mhm.
pandemic really allowed me to shift. And I turned around myself in so many different ways. I started being more mindful and being more gentle. And Alexia, if you would have known me in 2019, you would have been like, who the fuck are you?
Really?
You would not. I am a totally different person
Oh, I'm
than
so
who I
proud of you.
was. Thank you.
So proud of you. Or actually, I hear you, because it feels like you're a different person, but I think you stripped away things that were not you, and you returned to who you actually are. And that's how I feel about you.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm crying. Yeah.
Well, it's
Definitely.
true though, because that it was just like you, sometimes we need to get out of our own way
Yeah.
and just sink into who we are. And like the universe plants, this is from Elizabeth Gilbert, one of my favorite authors. The universe plants little gems inside each and every one of us, and it's our job to discover them. And I just feel like we all
Yeah.
have this beauty and untapped talent within us.
Yeah.
And it is just our job to strip away what society, what parenting, what friends, what bad teachers, what it's just social media. It's our job to strip that away and be like, what is here for me to discover? What is here for me to tap into and to bring to the world?
Yeah. It's like gold mining, basically, trying to
Yeah.
find gold. And I love that you said that, stripping away like parenting and stripping away friendships and all of these things. And
Yes.
that's definitely something like during the pandemic, I was stripping away things I became. And that was from old relationships,
Oh yeah.
friendships, parenting. And, something that I always say is I was very impatient. I wasn't very calm. I would react so fast. And I believe I got it from just my parents and the way I was raised. And I love my parents so much. So, like, when I'm trying to actually take kind of chip away from being that way, I'm like, I still love them and they did everything amazingly. But like, these are things that I held thinking that that's who I was. And
That's
then I
right.
realized that's just not who I want to be anymore, which is amazing.
That's beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. And it goes back to having that deep sense of self-awareness and mindfulness to really be able to sit down, quiet your mind, and notice that when those intrusive thoughts do come in, do they resonate with you? Do they feel true to who you are on a molecular level?
Yeah.
Or whose thoughts were those?
Yes.
Oh, they were that dance teacher when I was 11 years old that was telling me that I was too overweight, that I was not good enough.
Yeah.
That's not me. That was her
Mm-hmm.
projecting whatever she was going through in her life. She took that into the classroom in front of young, moldable minds and was careless with her words.
Yeah.
And I, as a dancer, I believe in tough love.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want a teacher that's going to go easy on me. I don't want praise. I don't want it to be an easy go. However, there's a fine line between that and abuse, verbal
Yes.
abuse,
Yes.
especially in the dance world. So my whole life as growing up being scrutinized, looking at my body in a mirror, and coming out of all of it, I'm so proud of myself for maintaining a healthy relationship with food and nourishment, and making it out, coming out the other end and still like loving myself. I'm still hard on myself. Obviously, I have to deal with my perfectionism all the time. Sometimes it feels paralyzing, but we're working on it. We are a work in progress constantly.
Constantly.
And I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
The
No
thing
one's
is,
perfect.
Exactly. But we would be so boring if we were perfect.
Yes.
We love movies because of the struggle. We love watching a beautiful struggle and someone overcoming their struggle. I'm more interested in how a person became how they came versus just like their end success.
Yes.
I want to know their backstory and what makes them tick. I want to know how they got there. I'm so much more impressed by someone that came from a hard life than someone that was just like born into it. I mean, it's a blessing that they were, no hate towards them, but I love a good backstory. I love a good fight.
Yeah. And I think like that's the greatest thing. I mean, me connecting with you, other people on this podcast, other people. I mean, I moved to the city of San Francisco alone. I didn't have anyone.
So brave.
I love connecting. That's the thing. I love hearing about people's stories because I see them on one level and I'm like, oh, you're this way. And then as I usually do, the first conversation I have, I'm like, what traumas do you have? You know, what makes you who you are? And to actually hear them open up and be like, you know, I was raised this way, or I'm struggling a lot with this emotion or this feeling because of this. It's so interesting to see one, how strong people are. They're so fucking strong. And I am so proud of so many people because they don't give themselves enough credit half the time. And I'm like, holy shit, do you see where you are today? Do you see that all of this taught you and you pulled yourself out? You found your gems. You still have gems you need to find. And you're on this continuous path in this journey of being yourself and finding yourself. We're constantly trying to find ourselves. And that is something that is just so fucking powerful and beautiful.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's so much magic in the story, and writing your story and making it go the way you want to go. It takes strength to do that. It takes work every day. Your thoughts shape your life.
Yes.
And that's why what you do is so important, and how affirmations run so deep in your veins. It's like you are manifesting the life you want to live. So yes, they're not just hippy dippy words like that are just, oh, that's not going to work. Well, if you give it 2 shots and don't do it, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's like the gym. You can't go twice and expect to gain muscle. I've been going to the gym for 6 years, and I feel like, you know, just within like the last 2 years, I'm really like, I can see it.
I'm like, holy shit, these muscles? Like, what the fuck? Okay, hell yeah. I saw you working out before this, so I was like, wow, she's getting that pump on.
I was getting those endorphins going, girl.
Yes, you were getting ready.
I was hitting that dopamine. God, it felt good.
But yes, I mean, everyone who's writing their story out there, just continue to write it and keep trying. I mean, manifestation, it's so funny when people are like, oh, I'm going to manifest it. Let's just say it. Oh, I'm going to do this. And then they don't talk about it. They don't talk about it again. I'm like, that's not manifesting. You have to constantly write it down, say it in your mind, and then actively work at it. And like my favorite thing ever is like affirmations, but also I invited incredible people into my life the past 3 months. And that was like after June to July, mid-July, I was going through that struggle. And I kind of was in an identity crisis, not for myself, but like where I belonged in social settings. With a breakup, I was losing people. I didn't really know where to go. And I wrote down, I was like, I'm tired of feeling this way. I know I can attract amazing people. I know that what I do for myself is incredible. I put the work in. So I'm going to find people who are like-minded and who are going to be on this journey with me.
Yeah.
I wrote down, I attract like-minded individuals. I attract beautiful people who inspire and are creative and challenge themselves in a day-to-day. Literally the next week, I met two of my best friends we celebrated our 3-month anniversary yesterday.
There it is.
Manifestation.
It works. But the best thing you have to get, this is like the secret sauce. Yes. I find with manifestation is that you have to raise your vibration when you're manifesting. So if that means putting on your favorite happy-go-lucky song and dancing like a fool in your room while you're manifesting it, that's when you're attracting all
you bring the energy to you. Yes,
you do. And you make things happen in your life. You need to speak them into existence. And then you need to take action towards that. And I heard someone say, like, if there is a version of yourself you're trying to become, you need to start acting like that in order to become that. So,
oh my God, amazing.
That's what you start doing. And I had set goals for myself. I'm like, you know what? I want specific sponsorships in my life. And I would just grind and put my head down and do the work I needed to do. And if you're a good person and you put out good into the world, it comes back to you.
Yes.
It comes back tenfold. You know what? I'm at a time in my life with the pandemic that happened. It's been a struggle. It's been a struggle financially. And I'm very grateful for the fact that I have my parents. I am Italian, so and Canadian. It's more normal here for people to live with their parents still. I feel like in the States, it's not so common. Most of you guys move out at a very young age.
Definitely.
But especially as Italians, we're very traditional.
Yeah.
We're very traditional. But anyways, it's been a struggle. And there have been dark days for me during this where I've just cried because of a lack of work. And I mean, I created my own projects. I started coaching meditations online with one-on-one with clients. I was doing what I could, but it still wasn't enough for me. And it's really important for you to find things that spark joy in your life, so that you can really continue to do what you love, but nurture yourself at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, we're coming to an end here. And I think this is a great segue into letting our listeners know, in your thoughts, how can they spark joy into their life and to carry that on?
Yeah. Lean into the curiosity, lean into those little thoughts that you have that you don't tell anyone about. Those little thoughts that excite you, that you wouldn't even dare to talk about. You're like, oh, yeah, that's something I would really want to do. Follow that. Follow those little curiosities and really try and imagine what you would be like living your happiest life and what you're doing, who you're surrounded by. Really try to envision that, what that looks like for you, utter happiness, and then slowly see, just experiment. I think going at life with more of like a light, playful, experimentative way. Experiment, that word.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah. I think just approaching it with a fun curiosity is a great way to find out what you like and what you don't like. And that's the beauty. If you don't like something, you can change it. Nothing's permanent. There's such a beauty in impermanence. And knowing that whatever chapter you're going through, good or bad, it will pass.
Yes.
And just doing little things that no matter how hard life gets, that you carve out that time for yourself to express. When I'm not dancing, my favorite thing to do in the world is paint. I love painting acrylic landscapes of nature. And I notice that's a part of me that I have to unleash. I have to let that, feed that craving.
Yes. And you let it flow out of you.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't matter if you're a good painter. Like, you don't have to be the best at everything.
Yeah.
If it brings you joy, do it. Oh my gosh.
Yes. I like to sing. Not a great singer.
Sing your heart out though. Like if it makes you
Put that on
happy, if
mic.
that's exactly.
Yeah.
Do what brings you joy.
I love that. And it's more of like when you kept saying that, like the curious, like go for the curious. It reminds me of my favorite book from like Disney, like Pixar, like The Curious and Curiouser, like Alice in Wonderland. Like be curious and fall
Yeah.
down that rabbit hole and
Yeah.
find yourself.
And just don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. Like people are worried about their own lives. They're really like, it's like, I hate to burst your bubble and my bubble, but we're really not that important in someone else's life. Like I think because we're important in our own minds, we think that other people are continually thinking about like, what are they going to do? And what's the next chapter? Maybe some people do watch us on that level, but like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's important to make sure that you are happy and you're doing things for you and not other people.
That is an important one. You have to look out for yourself. You are your own
Mm-hmm.
MVP. And again, yeah, no one is looking at you as closely as you're looking at yourself. So give yourself some
Yeah.
grace, cheer yourself on, root for yourself, and choose yourself, because then that's going to trickle in to other people choosing you, or, you know, life choosing you in good ways. But when it doesn't choose you, don't beat yourself up on it. Just choose yourself once
For
again.
sure.
Yeah.
And you know, the more I followed my passions and the more I leaned into that curiosity, I realized what I was meant to do. And part of my life moving forward, I was thinking about what am I going to do after I'm done dancing as a
Yeah.
performer? And for me, that was a big question that I needed to answer. And I just further tapped into that curiosity. And that's how I discovered that I wanted to put together I Empower Movement. Basically, I Empower Movement is a workshop that I take to high schools and elementary schools, and I educate students on the power of movement and mindfulness, and using movement as a form of preventative mental health to shape your life, to shape your mind, to help your body to experience joy. But I'm also helping students meditate for the first time, which is a beautiful practice that I think you can give anyone. And I often have students ask me, like, how often do you think I should meditate? And I say, well, how often do you brush your teeth? Meditation is the dental hygiene of the mind. It must be worked on daily.
That is a good way to pitch that to students, like for them to actually wrap their mind around that.
Yeah. Because the mind is constantly going, and especially with how much distraction is thrown at us on the daily.
Yeah.
We need a fighting chance.
Definitely.
Because otherwise we go into like overload our brain. It just needs a chance to simmer and breathe. And if you don't, it gets exhausted.
Yeah, and overload and like burnout type thing.
Yeah. So that's been my exciting project, and I hope that it'll continue to grow as I grow.
Yeah. Well, Alexia, where can they find you? You know, on Instagram, on TikTok, and your I Am movement. Where can they find you?
Yeah, so you can follow me on my main account for TikTok and Instagram at Alexia Monardo, ALEXIAMONARDO. And then on Instagram at IamPower.mvmnt. So IamPower.movement. Yeah, there I am.
Perfect. Love it. And I will link these as well. So if anyone's like, what did she just say? I need to follow her. I'm going to link them in the description, because that's how I would be. And reach out to Alexia and let her know that you listened to this episode and how much it inspired you, because I know I'm inspired. I cried. That means it's a good thing. That means it was a great episode. It's been an absolute honor talking with you on this.
Thank you so much for having me. You're just a lovely soul, and I'm just so blessed and grateful that I've been able to connect with you in this social media way.
World. Right?
Yeah.
Social media can be used for great things, and that's bringing amazing people together, and I can fully stand by that.
Me too.
Well, thanks friends for listening. Thank you again. Come on back to Let's Chat with J-Bax for our next guest. We'll see you then. Peace, love. How do you feel?